As a fresh day dawns on the rugged terrain of Mount Disappointment, transport safety investigators will take over from police and start working out exactly why a helicopter crashed there yesterday, resulting in the loss of all 5 people on board. Late on Thursday, more than 10 hours after the helicopter that had been part of a convoy of 2 disappeared, police confirmed that 4 passengers and a pilot had. As the Australian Transport Safety Bureau investigation gets underway and more details emerge, here is what we already know about the tragic crash. Who was on the flight? Those in Thursday's crash were 4 men and a woman. The woman was from Inverloch, aged 50, and the men were a 32-year-old from Cheltenham, a 73-year-old from Albert Park, as well as a 59-year-old man and 70-year-old man from New South Wales. Meat industry leader Paul Troja has been identified as the 73-year-old victim of the crash. The chairman of Radford Meats at Warragul is being remembered for his long and accomplished career within the industry. Helicopter flight operator Microflight confirmed yesterday that the helicopter that crashed was one of 2 in a charter convoy being run by the company. Microflight was operating 2 charter helicopter flights when one crashed on Thursday morning. It confirmed the S included one of its highly respected pilots, and on Friday the ABC confirmed a staff member from Radford's, which operates an abattoir at Warragul, was also on board. Each of the 2 helicopters travelling in the convoy had a pilot employed by Microflight and 4 passengers on board. The second helicopter landed safely soon after the first went missing. Yesterday, the company publicly expressed its deep condolences, and it has put a pause on its services until at least next Tuesday, April 5th. Where were they going? M to mute, left and right arrows to seek, up and down arrows for volume. Watch 56 seconds 56s. Police confirm 5 people in helicopter crash at Mount Disappointment on Thursday. The 2 helicopters first took off from Moorabbin Airport in Melbourne's southeast, before picking up passengers from Batman Park in the city at about 7 a.m. According to police, the 2 helicopters were chartered for a business trip and were both headed to Ulupna Island in Victoria's far north for a meeting. However, police said, just after 9 a.m., trouble struck as the 2 aircraft made their way over Mount Disappointment, a peak about 60 kilometres north of Melbourne that sits at the southern end of the Great Dividing Range. Victoria Police say the helicopter crashed after departing from Melbourne CBD on Thursday morning. Acting Inspector Josh Langelan said the helicopter that crashed disappeared in an area of low cloud. There was low cloud this morning. One helicopter came through the cloud, found that the other one was missing and police were notified, he said. Victoria Police's air wing located the site of the wreckage, near Blair's Hut, just before midday, but, due to the difficult nature of the terrain, it took until almost 4 p.m. for emergency services to reach the site on foot. Loading. Heavy machinery such as excavators and bulldozers were used to help reach the wreckage in the bushland. The worst was feared from early on, but it wasn't until about 7:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time that police were able to confirm publicly that all 5 people on board the helicopter had. When will we find out what went wrong? Acting Inspector Langelan said police would guard the site overnight and then hand the investigation over to specialists from the ATSB, who were expected to begin their work at first light. Yesterday, the ATSB's Angus Mitchell said transport safety investigators had begun travelling from Canberra and Melbourne. He said that, once they arrived, they would examine the site and its surrounds, as well as analysing any flight data and carrying out relevant interviews. Police had to contend with rough terrain at Mount Disappointment during their search on Thursday. Mr. Mitchell said any urgent safety issues that arose would be passed on immediately, but a preliminary report into what caused the crash would take between 6 to 8 weeks to be released. Acting Inspector Langelan said the tragic events of the morning of March 31st had affected emergency services personnel, some of whom were winched in to help with the on-foot search for the wreckage. It's been a trying day for the emergency services, and I just feel for the family and friends of the deceased, he said.